He is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Conversations that hit close to home. From schools to your pocketbook. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
John Hancock, Braxton Payne, Amy Markscourt is here with you. John Hancock, we're going to stay local before we jump to J.D. Vance, who happens to be in town today.
How about that?
I want to talk more about vice presidents after the news. But the Missouri gubernatorial race, where do we stand so far with the candidates, their popularity in the polls?
So for disclosure purposes, I am employed by a PAC that's supporting Mike Kehoe for governor. So take what I say from that perspective. But I do think, this was a race 6, 7, 8 months ago that Jay Ashcroft had a 35, 40-point lead on the head-to-head because of his name ID. And the Kehoe campaign's been well run. They've closed that gap, and the most recent polling I've seen has shown Mike Kehoe with a slight lead in that race. Bill Eigel is trailing in third place, but his numbers have come up since they've all gotten on the air. I think it's going to be a very close election. And a lot of it's going to depend on turnout. I think if turnout is high, I think that's going to benefit Kehoe.
Yeah, so one of the things that I find that John alluded to is Ashcroft had this huge lead just based on his name. And that's diminished with Kehoe's spending. I mean, Kehoe has spent, if you watch the local news or listen to the radio, I mean, he's spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. The fact that no one's, most polling doesn't have anybody above 35, 40%,
right.
is probably has all these campaigns thinking that they can win. Eigel's kind of a wild card in there. I don't think he has a chance. I think that's why his commercials recently have been so bombastic to garner any type of either earned media attention or attention from voters. If I were to handicap it, I think Kehoe is probably the favorite in this race.
Now,
and I'm not working for anybody, so I mean that is what I would handicap.
And the other thing on the Kehoe front is if you look in endorsements. An endorsement here, an endorsement there doesn't really matter that much. Mm-hmm. But virtually everybody has endorsed Kehoe, from the Farm Bureau to the police to the. I mean, you can't find an area of folks that are banded together who follow the government where they haven't endorsed him, and that does reach a critical mass at some point.
Yeah, and Kehoe has the best, what in my opinion, the best maybe not the best. He does have the best commercials in my opinion, but
I was going to say I like his commercials. He
looks like a governor. Jay Ashcroft is kind of like he's he can't talk direct to camera like Kehoe can and convince you, look into your eyes and say, hey, I want you to vote for me. The only thing is I will say, since nobody's really reaching that 40% mark, these undecided voters, when they go and they, maybe they don't tune in as much, they're going to vote in the primary. Do they just select Ashcroft just because of his name and they feel comfortable with him? Right. And that happens a lot in politics.
Yeah, don't you find that I have found generally that the undecided vote generally breaks 2-1 in one direction or the other.
Yep.
And so that's a big determinant here.
Yeah, we see it in almost every election.
Right.
I mean, the 2-1 margin is something. I mean, you see it in local politics when it ranging for the Board of Aldermen. I remember the Steve Stenger race when he ran against Charlie Dooley, however many years ago. They were both polling essentially even. I worked on that race. I know, and then all of a sudden, last couple of weeks, it was like, 2-1. They all broke, and you won with a pretty overwhelming margin. And it's just who voters are comfortable with. I think the police endorsement for Kehoe, frankly, of in a Republican primary is way top there, and I think he's hammered it home and continue to hammer it home.
The last 15 seconds here, I know not long, but the St. Louis Post editorial board, Bell has our enthusiastic endorsement for Missouri's 1st congressional district. Of course, Wesley Bell, St. Louis County prosecutor, going up against Cori Bush, and looking good for Wesley Bell. I mean, it could be an upset.
He's going to win.
Yeah, agreed.
Braxton Payne, John Hancock, Amy Mark scores. We're going to talk J.D. Vance after the news.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be directly notified of our open positions. Again, that's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for our listeners, we invite you to visit odysseyinc.com/careers. There, you'll find an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Supporting your nutrition should be easy. That's why we created the Neovitin Women's Multivitamin monthly subscription. Get your daily Neovitin Women's Multivitamin delivered directly to your door every month. You can pause or cancel your subscription at any time with no long-term obligations. With B vitamins to support energy, vitamin D for bone support, and our physician-formulated proprietary blend, Neovitin Women's Multivitamin is here to support your nutrition every day. Start supporting your nutrition and sign up for a monthly Neovitin Women's Multivitamin subscription today at neovitin.com.
We're talking to Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center about why you, Dr. Bosler, love your field, audiology.
You know, what I hate is when people come and tell me that they avoid going to a dining hall at their place of residence because they don't want to have trouble hearing or ask people what. But what I love is when a patient tells me this, and then after wearing a pair of our hearing aids for a few weeks, they tell me that they no longer avoid those difficult settings. Helen Keller said it best, and I always say this, but blindness disconnects you from things, but hearing loss disconnects you from people. So at the Audiology Center, we try to care about you, and we want to reconnect you to your loved ones.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. She's Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today, 636-441-7470 or online, audiologycenterstl.com.
At 10:30, clouds and 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. Former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama today endorsed Kamala Harris in her White House bid, giving the vice president the expected but still crucial backing of the nation's two most popular Democrats. The endorsement comes a day after Harris and President Joe Biden each met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is also expected to meet with Netanyahu today. It's the first time in nearly 4 years that Trump and Netanyahu have met. We've got road work on Lindbergh going south at 231. The right lane is closed. A stalled vehicle 70 going westbound at Cave Springs Truman. That's on the right shoulder. This afternoon, a high of 89. Could have a stray thunder shower this afternoon. For tonight, low 71. For tomorrow, thunderstorm in the afternoon. Otherwise, sun with a high of 85. Right now, it is 79. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Summertime is crazy time for families, and nobody can go without hot water. If you're in need of a water heater, all you have to do is send a picture of your water heater to Beast Plumbing for an estimate and same-day replacements. Call 314-500-LEAK and tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want to assemble, sell with no agency fees. Claiming groups got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
This summer, take a trip down memory lane with me and hear from the legends of baseball. I'm Brett Boone from the Brett Boone Podcast. Every week I have a conversation with one of baseball's greats to talk about the glory days and reflect on today's game. Randy Johnson, Pete Rose, Deion Sanders, Jay Buhner, Albert Bell, and Goose Gossage. They've all shared their wisdom with stories of their playing days. To hear who's next, follow and listen to the Brett Boone Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
McKelvey Homes waterfront at Wild Horse Village in Chesterfield is selling fast. With just 3 open home sites and 2 quick move-in homes available, you don't want to miss your chance to live in this unique community. Visit McKelveyHomes.com for more information.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. From trees that need planting to fences that need building, you have a lot to do. But that's no excuse to skip the most important step in any digging project, locating the underground facility. Submit a free locate request online at Missouri-811.org or by calling 811 3 working days before digging. Missouri 811 will contact the public utility owners so they can locate their underground utilities and you can dig with confidence. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
Saturdays are made for soccer.
Parker elevated now ahead! And it's in! City lead!
Catch St. Louis City SC soccer
Anywhere you go.
on the Odyssey app.
Oh, Roman Berkey! A huge save! Oh, Roman Berkey!
Saturdays are made for soccer. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Together Credit Union, the exclusive banking partner of City SC and Academy of the Sacred Heart. Independent Sacred Heart education since 1818.
I'm Rachel Zimmerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Happy early birthday, Amy. You share a birthday with my son. He turns 8 tomorrow. Hopefully both you guys have a great day. Big fan here.
Aw.
That was so
That
nice.
was so nice. Thank you very much. It has been a great birthday here with John Hancock
Hey.
and Braxton Payne.
If I would have known, I would have brought a cake in.
Well, I do love cake. I love cake so much. I always keep a birthday cake in my freezer because birthday cake freezes really well and you can eat it right out of the freezer. And that way you always have cake when you're craving it.
That's a brilliant idea.
I know. It's
Some people keep ice cream in their freezer,
I
but
keep
there's this thing called the grocery store.
Yeah, but when you want cake, you need cake. All right. So JD Vance is in town. I believe he's at a dinner event, I should say, with Eric Schmidt is also there. Plates start at $3,000 per. You can also get a picture with him for $15,000. But John Hancock, what do you make of the JD Vance pick? Trump picking Vance for vice president.
Well, it was a quintessential Donald Trump move. He's got a guy there who's going to be fiercely loyal to him. It's pretty clear that JD Vance is not going to overshadow Donald Trump with his rhetorical eloquence. And I think that's comforting for the former president. And I think for a host of reasons, Donald Trump felt most comfortable with J.D. Vance, and his kids, both Donald Jr. and Eric, were strongly encouraging him in that direction. And the pick was made coming off of Joe Biden's horrific debate performance and then Donald Trump surviving the assassin's bullet. And I think at the point in time he made that decision, that 48-hour period between the assassination and the start of the convention, I think he felt free to pick whoever he really wanted. He didn't have to pick a tactical choice or a safe choice. And In hindsight, he picks somebody that brings literally nothing to the ticket in Vance, because Ohio's going to go Republican anyway. Vance's positions on all things MAGA are completely in line with Donald Trump's own, so he doesn't expand Trump's appeal in any way. And I don't know how thoroughly vetted he was. You got all these quotes coming out now that, perhaps the Trump campaign was aware of all of that. I hope they were, just from a process standpoint. But somebody that's that new on a national stage that has not been thoroughly vetted it's always risky.
Yeah, JD Vance wasn't a great candidate when he ran for Senate, honestly. I mean, he in Ohio, he won by 6 percentage points, which obviously he won, but of all the statewide tickets, he won by the least margin.
Right.
So he wasn't a great campaigner, so therefore I don't get it. The only thing I've heard is, Donald Trump has struggled with fundraising. He's able to get those low dollar donations, but some of the more corporate dollars have either decided to stay out of the race or support Joe Biden at the time. Is that his deep ties, JD Vance's ties to Silicon Valley and Silicon Valley money is really the only reason that I quite see. I think, Eric and Don Jr. are hunting buddies with him. So I think that therefore they might have been pointing him in that direction. And it's kind of been a dud, kind of a flop. His first campaign rally was Jeb Bush-esque, please clap for me type. He doesn't feel or look comfortable.
It's weird though, because it's interesting that you said he won't overshadow Trump.
Yeah.
Because I get it. He doesn't. He's almost like the anti-enthusiasm. I don't know if there's, not negative energy, but it's just like you said, a dud. But at the same time, some of his rhetoric, I was afraid, not afraid, but it felt like he forgot that he's there. His whole job is to boost Trump, where it felt like he was talking about anti-corporations and, talking about the working class and how big companies have abused the working class. And people started chanting 12 more years at one of the rallies, where it almost felt like JD Vance was kind of getting caught up in his own aura. Was I wrong in picking?
I haven't picked up on that, but, vice president really typically doesn't do much for the ticket. Now, I do think Kamala Harris has a chance. And I think she ought to pick Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is about the only thing that really matters at this point. And so it seems like that's a no-brainer. She's got the Jewish issue and the youth vote issue that she's got to deal with there. But at the end of the day, I don't know that the vice president, one way or the other, is going to make that big of an impact.
Yeah. Sorry. And JD Vance, what do the now viral clip of, calling people cat ladies, that, they're not fit, essentially, for many things, offended. I mean, Jennifer Aniston came out, she doesn't have any children, came out, and that led cable news all day yesterday. And it's really offended a lot of women. And I just think it's an issue that I don't know why he's so obsessed with whether or not somebody has biological children or not. And I just don't think that, obviously, that clip resurfaced. I mean, it's an old clip from 2021, but if those are his beliefs, it's just another taint. And I could just see Donald Trump seething that JD Vance is not getting any positive news coverage, because he watches cable news like anybody else's business, and it's just all negative. He's just seething inside. Well,
The Trump campaign famously scrupulous when it comes to unseemly quotes from the past. This is like a dumb question. I just don't know. If Trump decides he made a terrible mistake with Vance, is there any process or recourse for him to say, switch in vice presidents?
No, as a practical matter. You've had the convention. He's been nominated. That's the process that's in place. Sometime very soon, in fact, right after the Democratic convention, the ballots are going to be printed. So I suppose theoretically he could jettison Vance. I just don't think that's going to happen. And I suppose that the process at that point would be, because you've got to account for somebody potentially being deceased, in the middle of a campaign. I would expect there's some procedure where maybe the Republican National Committee would convene and nominate and
Mhm.
ratify another vice presidential selection. But as a practical matter, it's not going to happen.
He would look weak if he did that too. I
Right.
mean, he made the decision. Nobody else made the decision for them, and him going back on his decision would make Donald Trump look weak.
Okay, I have this question because I've heard this accusation against JD Vance and against Kamala Harris, how that person is only saying what's politically expedient. This person has done something different in the past or said this statement in the past, and now they're switching it because they're trying to meet the political moment. They're trying to garner as much support. They're trying to erase their past and so forth. This is not a new accusation against politicians. So my question is, where does ambition cross a line with what's politically expedient? What can you say? Well, that's okay. That's ambition. You kind of have to meet the moment. You kind of have to change your words sometimes in order to get the votes, in order to play the game, versus someone being hypocritical.
Yeah, one of the things that I look for is when somebody runs for office, there's a certain point of narcissism for anyone that runs for office, for a big political office.
It's true.
Besides you, John. But you often see that the people that are super ambitious, they lose sight of why they wanted to run in the first place. Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, most of the time you run is because you want to help people and you want to do what's right and you want your policies to become law. That is why you run for office. And a lot of times we forget that. We often see, I will say sometimes from the Republican side and Marjorie Taylor Greene and maybe even, Rashid Tlaib, is they run to own the other side.
Right.
And then their positions change just to see how they can own the other side. So when I see that, number one, they should never be running for office. I don't like the people that do that. But when they lose sight of why they run, and they don't talk about the compassion of the American people or the Missourians or whoever they're running to represent, St. Louis Countyans, that's when I see that their ambition clouds out, and the American people can oftentimes see right through that. Not as much as I would like them to.
It's been my experience that most people that run for office, a majority of them don't really have core convictions. And if you go back and look at anybody, candidates that came along in the late 70s, early 80s that ran as pro-life, they flipped. You've seen, any one of a number of people change their issue position to comport with where they perceive the electorate is. It's not anything new in politics. I'm not fan of it. I prefer somebody with core convictions that states what they believe and follows through on it. And if the public's not with them, they don't win. So, but I think the majority of politicians are very malleable.
Yeah, I think the word I was struggling to find was sellout, an ambition versus a sellout. And another person that came to mind, because I'm trying to empathize with her position, is Nikki Haley, who I can think of 5 times where she's been anti-Trump, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, pro-Trump. I can think of 5 specific times where she's gone back and forth. And obviously, speaking at the Republican National Convention, I think she handled herself and explained her position as well as she could. But let's say she seems like a person who's operating on principles and is thinking, the Republican Party is going a direction I don't like. The only way I can attempt to help save it is from the inside. And so I have to do and say what I do and say. I have to play the game to remain on the inside. Otherwise, I'll get Liz Cheney'd. Is that a sellout, or is that doing the right thing?
Well, I mean, it's a sellout to me is somebody who violates their core convictions for the furtherance of their personal ambition. Okay. But in order to be a sellout, you've got to have the core convictions to start with. And I don't know that Nikki Haley does not impress me as somebody that has very deep, abiding core convictions. Nor does Donald Trump, nor does Kamala Harris, nor does Joe Biden, nor does most of the people that we elect in this country. And people that do have fairly, strident core convictions, and they don't win.
Yeah, one of the things that I look at Nikki Haley is you can see it. She's thinking about the next election. A lot of times politicians think about how they can run for re-election. When you're in the House of Representatives, you're only there for 2 years. You essentially govern for 6 months, or you learn how to govern for 3 months, try to govern for 3 months, and then you're running for re-election for the next year and a half. I think the best examples in Missouri for me of a sellout is Eric Greitens. I mean, he went in 2008, saw Barack Obama at the convention with Governor Bob Holden, and was going to run as a Democrat, saw that the state was trending the other way, and he switched parties and became this, I don't even know what he was. I mean, you can also look back at Chris Koster. I mean, he was a Republican until 2006 and ran as a Democrat in 2008 and won.
Braxton Payne, John Hancock. Either of you have a few more minutes you want to hang around?
I would love to.
Sure.
Perfect. I'm Amy Mark Scores without Chris Ranji. He'll be back next week. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through September 15th, purchase high-quality GAF with Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, yourEyeDoc.com.
Join us for the next Business of Family Business. I'm Debbie Monterey, and we're going to be talking with Jason Shupp of Ferguson Roofing.
Join us Saturday at 2:00. Jason's going to talk about the process he went through, considering the sale of his company that had been in the business in the family for 3 generations. Fascinating story.
That is Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners. I'm Debbie Monterey. It's the Business of Family Business, Saturday at 2, right here on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless
This is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
I'm Roger Brand, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Amy, what you wanna do? I think.
Well, we've hit the politics hard for the first hour.
Yes, we have.
And we've got John Hancock and Braxton Payne in studio. So I did not want to waste their time, but now we will.
All right.
Because something more important than my birthday is today.
What's that?
That is the dinner party.
Oh, the dinner
being
club.
hosted by the Hancock.
Not the Olympics opening ceremony, guys. I know we were going to go there, but go ahead, John. Dinner club.
Well, it's all of these now women that were high school friends, and so these six high school friends, my wife and her 5 friends from high school.
Where'd you go to high school? Where did they go to high school?
Westminster Christian Academy.
Amazing.
And so 26 years ago, the girls got together and decided we should start a dinner club with all of their spouses. And so there's 6 couples. And for the last quarter of a century, every other month we have dinner together at somebody's house. So everybody ends up hosting it once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot. I mean, it's a big, production thing. And after 26 years, you kind of done everything,
Yeah.
seemingly. But it's a great group of people. And now, we've seen we've all had our kids since dinner club, and now several of us are grandparents, and you watch it, and, some of us are not still married at the same, but, but it's, it's really cool. And we've all kind of lived life together.
So, John, first off, what are you cooking this evening?
Well, I'm not cooking anything.
And do people bring a wine? Or do we have like craft cocktails? Do we have craft beer? What are we
Just
doing?
depends on the host.
Okay.
So, we're doing beef tenderloin this evening, and Georgianne's got some other stuff cooking. Somebody will bring a salad, somebody will bring an appetizer, and everybody brings wine, and that's how we celebrate.
I love that.
Sounds very nice.
It is lovely.
Braxton, the other event, the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Now you are the youth of the room.
Oh.
You're the young gentleman sitting across from me. Why? And I know you're not Gen Z, but you're a millennial, right?
Yeah, I'm a millennial. Yes.
Gen Z apparently doesn't care about the Olympics. So you, as a younger millennial, I'm an elder geriatric millennial. You are a younger millennial, and then you're closer to Gen Z. Do you care about the Olympics? Do your friends care? And have you noticed that younger people don't care?
First off, I love the Olympics. I love an excuse to watch anything in the middle of the night, during the day. I think one of the things that it's hard to keep up because 4 years ago it was in Tokyo, so a lot of the times we're off. This year it's in Paris, so at least we'll be able to watch during the day. I know a lot of Gen Zers that are thrilled about the Olympics. Maybe not as much as my generation as much, but I love the Olympics. I mean, I was supposed to go. I actually have tickets if anybody would like to buy them. I have water polo tickets, some beach volleyball. Yeah, I was planning to go. I bought these tickets about a year ago, but I don't have like 10 grand just sitting around to fly and stay in Paris because there's no hotel rooms. So if anybody would like them, contact me.
Braxton Payne has got tickets. You get on the plane.
Braxton STL on Twitter. If you'd like to DM me, I would be happy to transfer them to you. But I love the Olympics. So I like the weird sports. So I love curling. During the Winter Olympics, it's my favorite.
I was going to say I got bad news.
I love, but obviously the Olympics started. The first game started 2 days ago. We have a St. Charles boy, Schulte. He's our goalie for the U.S. soccer team. So that was really fun to watch. But
Schulte.
I love handball.
Really?
Handball is one of my favorite summer Olympic sports because it's just so fast paced and just so fun to watch.
And the equipment's very affordable.
It's very affordable. I will say the odd sports and the coverage of the odd sports on the offshoot NBC stations like MSNBC are my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
One time at 2:00 in the afternoon, it was women's badminton. And the announcer goes, "Oh my gosh, This is the second greatest rally in the history of women's doubles badminton.
let me tell you.
The second greatest? What the world? Who knows the first greatest?
No. I'm not gonna let the birthday girl sit here and poo-poo badminton.
I love badminton.
Badminton is a compelling sport to watch. You got the little, what do you call it? The thing that you hit.
Shuttlecock.
Yeah, that's what you call it. But you got that thing, and you got your little racket there, and you got the net up. I mean, it's a great sport. Now, when they finally acquiesce and bring snooker to the Olympics, that will be a sight to behold.
And you'll be going to that
I
games.
will be there. I might be a U.S. representative on the Olympic snooker team.
Oh
Think
my
about
gosh.
that.
Actually,
Think about
I'm going
that.
to push for this. This is great. Well, John Hancock, before you become a famous snooker player,
Yes.
thank you for sitting in with us.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
Amy.
Braxton Payne. We've got Brad Young joining us next on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and get a 4th room for free and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call right now, 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
CARE STL Health proudly hosts Project O, the 5th annual opioid awareness walk run in Forest Park, August 3rd. Choose from a 5K or 1 mile route. Registration is free, with donations appreciated. There will be giveaways and awards for attendees. Join CARE STL Health as they amplify awareness of the opioid crisis, honor those lost to addiction, and bring together community resources to support those affected by the opioid epidemic. CARE STL Health Project O walk run is Saturday morning, August 3rd in Forest Park. Visit carestlhealth.org to register.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Your air conditioning system has been getting a real workout this summer. If it needs a little help, you can count on Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling at 314-968-9900 with 24-hour service nights and weekends for any emergencies and repairs. They do give free estimates as well if you need a whole new system. Right now, they're offering no interest for 5 years on new Lennox air conditioners, and that comes with a 10-year parts and condenser warranty. 314-968-9900 or online at comfortsolutionsstl.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
St. Louis, Walk to End Lupus Now. The 2024 Walk to End Lupus takes place September 7th at Creve Coeur Lake Memorial Park under the Trayman Pavilion. Join us in person to Walk to End Lupus Now. For more information, visit the website at lupus.org/heartland.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news, KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got clouds. It's currently 81 degrees downtown at the Arch. Our top story this hour:
KMOX is covering breaking news.
the head of St. Louis Public Schools is out. Let's go live to the newsroom. KMOX's Debbie Monterey with the latest.
Michael, we are just getting word that after just a year on the job and just weeks before the start of the school year, Dr. Keisha Scarlett has been replaced with her second in command, Millicent Borashade. The Board of Education of the city of St. Louis says Scarlett is on a temporary leave of absence. In Scarlett's short time on the job, the district's finances went from a multi-million-dollar surplus to a $35 million deficit. Then she also hired a dozen people from Seattle and a communications person who planned to do the job from Houston. That didn't sit well with some members of the school board. And then there's the issue of transportation, as Missouri Central terminated its bus contract with the district. And many are wondering if the bus problems this year will be worse than last year.
Thank you, Debbie. Former President Barack Obama is endorsing Kamala Harris's White House bid.
Former President Barack Obama is endorsing Kamala Harris's White House bid.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Aw.
A campaign video highlights the former president and first lady calling the vice president.
Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness.
A person familiar with their talk says Obama and Harris have been in regular touch since President Biden said he'd end his campaign. They've been close for 20 years, and she's often used him as a sounding board.
Thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Sagar Magani, Washington.
The final girder's been installed on the new eastbound span of the Interstate 270 Chain of Rocks Bridge.
It's the first of two being constructed over the Mississippi River to replace the current twin span that's been in use since the mid-1960s. Walsh Construction says it's directly south of the existing structure. By the numbers, 298 girders, 1,677 cross spans, and
Matt, can you hear me?
5,333 bolts. IDOT says the project's on track for drivers to be using the new span by the end of this year. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
St. Clair County plans to beef up security for riders of the Metro system.
The county will do that by paying overtime rates to off-duty officers from 5 agencies: the Sheriff's Department, which already provides a full-time Metro detail, the cities of Belleville and Fairview Heights, and the villages of Shiloh and Swansea.
So we're trying to add more law enforcement on a voluntary basis to complement the full-time detail.
By-state
Hey,
development.
Matt, can you hear me?
Scott says riders will see more officers in parking lots, bus loading areas, and light rail platforms. He hopes to expand the overtime pay program to other areas along Metro lines. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
The KMOX Business Desk, the Blue Oval hits a snag.
Shares of Ford suffered their worst day in more than 15 years after a big earnings miss that the automaker blamed on a surge in warranty repair costs for older vehicles. Recurring quality problems have driven up Ford's warranty costs for years, but an $800 million spike in the second quarter caught investors by surprise. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel is up 748 points to 40,683. Watch out for a vehicle fire, 70 going west at 370. That's got 3 lanes closed to the right side and the shoulder. A vehicle on fire, 70 going west at 370. Right 3 lanes are closed. Road work on Lindbergh South at 231. That's got the right lane closed there.
Times of sun and clouds this afternoon with nothing more than a stray thunder shower, the high 89. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 71. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow and rather humid. There can be an afternoon thunderstorm, the high 85. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got clouds across the region. It's 81 in Florissant and St. Peter's and 81 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Check out their new Empower checking account and earn 5% interest on balances up to $25,000.
Amy Mark Scores here alongside Brad Young, sitting in for Chris Ranji. Brad, I told everyone at the beginning of the show that today is my birthday, and I was listening. Oh yes, this is all I wanted was just a break from Ranj, and I want to chat with my good friend Brad Young, and he said I can make that happen.
Well, it's interesting because yesterday I had a client meeting. The company is called Thomas McGee. And they're big fans of the Chris and Amy Show. Well, let me rephrase that. They're big fans of Amy Mark Scores. And so we were in this meeting yesterday, and they just kept going on and on how everybody loves Amy Mark Scores. They listen all day long. And then I said, hey, I'm going to be sitting in with her tomorrow. And they said, well, great. If Ranj isn't there, we will enjoy it even more. So I'm just giving it to you the way it is. I'm not sugarcoating it.
He's speaking the truth, not sugarcoating, no matter how it affects anyone's feelings, specifically Chris Ranji's feelings. But Brad, I really appreciate it. And I know we're jumping right into some meaty stuff here, but I haven't gotten a chance to talk about news coming out of California, specifically Governor Gavin Newsom. Yesterday, it was announced that he would be removing and cleaning up some of the homeless encampments that are really all across the state. But there was news even before that, several weeks ago, that he signed a bill that would ban school districts from requiring staff to notify parents of their child's gender identification change. So he signed that bill into law on Monday. And what it does is it bans school rules requiring teachers and other staff to disclose a student's gender identity or sexual orientation to another person, any other person, without the child's permission. And from a legal standpoint, I would love to get your thoughts on this, because my first gut reaction is the state government stepping in between a child and their parent.
Well, I think there's two sides to this, Amy. The first side is just from a policy perspective. I mean, the audacity of saying that from the state's perspective, that they have more of an interest in the child's welfare than do the parents. And to some extent, as a parent, I've got 3 daughters. That's reprehensible to me that the state thinks that they know more about my own child than I do. They know more about what's good for my kid than I do. And I've got a lot of problems with that from a policy perspective. But then when you want to shift over to the legal side, I read through the complaint that was filed in California, and there's a lot of case law that's cited in this petition talking about how, for example, the Supreme Court has held on numerous occasions, and I'm looking for the exact quote here, that there is an assumption that minors will benefit from consultation with their parents. The Supreme Court held that in 1992. There's also lots of case law that parental rights are never secondary to the desires of government agencies, that decisions made by children have to be done in consultation with parents and not just a school. And there's case law on that. So what this is going to determine is whether or not schools can completely shut out parents from knowing about their children, from making decisions about their children's welfare. And I think this is going to be a ground setting or a case. It's going to be establishing this idea that parents must be controlled must be rather involved in these big decisions from their children, and it cannot be done exclusively by the state.
Yeah, Brett, I have strong feelings about this. Probably not a surprise coming from a homeschooled family, and my parents fortunate to have them homeschool me. And even though I know that's not for everyone, the bond, the relationship between a child and a parent is sacred, not just relationally, but also under the law. But let me just throw out this argument that I know this is what people are thinking. What would you say to someone who says, well, what if their parents will abuse them, reject them, kick them out if they come out as gay or as transgender?
There's a great response to that. If parents do that, you punish the parents. I mean, let's put it in a completely different context. Remember, we were told when the COVID lab leak theory first came out that you cannot say that COVID came from China, because if you do, people may discriminate against Asian Americans. And my response to that was, well, number one, if it's true that the COVID came from China, we need to know that. But secondly, if anyone discriminates against Asian Americans because of this, then punish those who are discriminating. Don't hide the truth out of fear for what happened. Respond to those who discriminate properly. And my analysis is the same here, Amy, and that is that if there's a fear that the parents may retaliate against the kid, then you can punish the parents when they do that. But you don't shut out the parents from the decision-making process out of a fear of something that may or may not even happen.
Yeah, and I know just because something is a hard decision or a hard reality doesn't mean it's not the right decision or reality itself. And I guess I bring that up because my heart breaks for any kids who they're struggling personally and then they're intimidated by their parents or what have
Right.
you. But even in our court system, from my friends who've been in either lawyers or judges who have said one of the hardest things is knowing a parent is not a great parent and you have to allow the kid to stay with that parent because the legal bar is so high for taking a kid away from a parent because the law respects that parent-child relationship. Is that kind of what we're looking at? Like, okay, the schools may want to look out for the kid, but the bar is so high legally for the parent-child relationship.
I think that's part of it, but I think that the more of the issue here, Amy, is more of a philosophical standpoint. You talked about you yourself being homeschooled.
Mhm.
For decades, homeschoolers were prohibited by law. They were mocked and ridiculed by the education system, and they were prohibited from teaching. Parents were prohibited from teaching their kids at home. And it took lots of litigation to establish the right to homeschool because, from the view of the educators, my goodness, you parents cannot nearly do as good of a job teaching your kids as I do. Okay.
Mhm.
So that was that paternalistic, and I'm using that word ironically on purpose, but this paternalistic view that only we of the education system are qualified to teach your children. And then this is from a system that says school choice is a bad idea. You shouldn't have the choice to go to a different school. You shouldn't have the choice to pull your kids from a public school system and send them to someplace else. So that view, I think, is overarching here. And it also applies to whether or not you, the parents, are smart enough from the intelligentsia of academia to be able to deal with your kids going through something as fundamental as their gender identity.
Yeah. No, you bring up the homeschool situation, and that's exactly right. Now, the last census shows that 11% of households with school-aged children have a homeschooled child, and faith is way down on the list now, like 6th or 7th on the list of reasons: bullying, quality of education, the dealing with learning disabilities, or maybe not able to cater to a child who is either gifted or struggles in different areas. And when I homeschooled, we were like at that tail end of the pioneers of homeschooling. And so we had on our kitchen counter a pamphlet, should the DFS come knocking? Because
Yeah, right.
people thought it was this horrible thing to homeschool, and that, oh, your mom's not a teacher, she doesn't have her degree. And I'm not trivializing degrees in education, but what I am saying is parents it's a sacred bond between parents and children. And right, if people said, well, just because there might be bad parents, we should not allow homeschooling across the board, that's a right that's being violated and is in other countries. I think my family's German, and in Germany it's illegal to homeschool.
Right. And but the way homeschool parents were treated just not all that long ago, I think is very much like Anne Frank. I mean, you had to hide the kids in the walls if the DFS comes around because you don't want them carted away. And yet there's that same viewpoint that says only we, the government, is good enough, smart enough, savvy enough to be able to teach your children. And I just think that is philosophically wrong.
Let's move on to another breaking news in California. And this is Governor Newsom declaring and issuing a directive calling for cities to take down the homeless encampments across the state. This is after the Supreme Court did expand the authority of municipalities to dismantle camps. And some people are saying, oh, this is proof that Gavin Newsom is running for president because he allowed the camps until this highly charged political moment. And now he's trying to make himself look better in the eyes of the American public. What are your thoughts on, well, let's do both, the political side of things with Gavin Newsom? Is this a strategic move? And also the legal side of things?
Well, of course, it's a strategic move. I mean, everything at this point, from his haircuts and his teeth whitening, has a political angle here. But the legal end to me is what's fascinating, because the left charged in California that you could not move homeless camps out of or off of city property. In other words, the right to camp apparently was enshrined in the Constitution, according to the left. And so in the Grants Pass case, which just came down from the Supreme Court last month, the issue there was if you fined someone for living on public property, is that cruel and unusual punishment under the Constitution? Well, of course it's not. And the Supreme Court correctly decided that. But now cities and states have a legal backdrop to be able to remove the homeless from encamping. I mean, look what they did in the city of St. Louis here. Even before this case came down, you had encampments all around City Hall, and the city had to put up fencing and say, no, this is a no camping zone, but you can go somewhere else. So at that point, it was a problem in the city. It's a problem in states. It's a big problem in California. And so, yes, now the courts have allowed cities and states to do something about it. But Gavin Newsom, listen, he's already measuring the curtains in the Oval Office. So we know that's exactly what he's thinking.
He's Brad Young. I'm Amy Mark Scores. And we've had some texts, Brad, asking me to ask you about the Christopher Dunn case, the man who remains in prison, even though a lower court ruling cleared him of murder and ordered his release. We will get to that after we chat with Mike Claiborne. So hang on and keep listening. Plus, we have tickets to give away from Santana and Counting Crows. So many reasons to keep listening this morning. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
Conservative Dave Wassinger is the only pro-Trump Republican running for lieutenant governor. Wassinger is the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. And Wassinger is the only candidate for lieutenant governor with the guts to work with Trump to deport illegals. Wassinger's policy on illegal immigration is simple. Come here legally, or it's adios, amigos. Listen to conservative pro-Trump Republican Dave Wassinger.
President Trump is right. Illegals break our laws, steal our jobs, and overwhelm our hospitals. It has to stop. As my lieutenant governor, I'll fight to keep Missouri safe and deport illegals. You come here legally, or it's adios, amigos.
Dave Wassinger, tough on illegal immigration. Dave Wassinger, pro-Trump. Dave Wassinger, pro-life. Vote Dave Wassinger for lieutenant governor. Paid for by Wassinger for Missouri. Henry Charles Poles, treasurer.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are focusing on mental health. Joining me is Dr. Jessica Vanderland, psychologist with Siteman.
Anxiety, depression, PTSD, general distress, insomnia, a lot of fatigue related to cancer, and sometimes body image concerns. All of these are more frequently experienced in a cancer population than in the general population.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
paid for by
Okay.
government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3077. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3077 now to secure your 1904p $20 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3077.
Summertime is crazy time for families, and nobody can go without hot water. If you're in need of a water heater, all you have to do is send a picture of your water heater to Beast Plumbing for an estimate and same-day replacements. Call 314-500-LEAK and tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
Real issues that impact your life. No polarizing politics, just relatable conversations. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Antioxidants and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription.
I wonder if some of those Olympic athletes are taking Neovitin for a little bit of extra energy. The Olympics start today. Well, I'm sure the opening ceremonies is already taking place. Now, I mean, some news coming out of France early this morning as fires were set around 4 a.m. local time at 3 sites. This was around the country's rail network. It was a coordinated and precisely targeted attack. They cut the safety lines, they started fires, and so thousands of people were left stranded, not able to get to the opening ceremonies. We'll keep an eye on that as more information comes out. But Brad Young, you said something, I think it was an At Your Service, that that I felt was also happening, and that is a waning interest in the Olympics, specifically among young people. What is your theory as why Gen Z just doesn't care?
There's a few reasons I think that leads to that conclusion, Amy. One is that there's been a lot of drug scandals. If you look back, whether it's with Russia, with China, with other countries, there seems to be a lot of drug scandals when it comes to the Olympics, and I think that's one. There's also corruption. A few years ago, we had issues related to judges being paid off to render decisions in the Olympics, and that corruptibility of the Olympics, I think, drives some kids away from that. I've also read a lot about the environmental impact of the Olympics. And for those young folks who are concerned that the Olympics are really just an enormous pollution machine, I mean, it doesn't bother me in any way. But from those who are young and on the left, I can see that they would have those problems. But also, I think the biggest issue, though, even those issues I think are a factor. I think the biggest factor that drives the young folks away from the Olympics is the political gamesmanship. I mean, if you look, even going back to the Carter administration, when we pulled out of the Olympics because of the Russia's invasion of Afghanistan, and you look at since then, we pulled out of the Olympics one year, and other countries will play this gamesmanship by putting in athletes that may not be qualified or maybe using drugs, performance enhancing drugs, in order to enhance their political standing. And I think those the younger, predominantly the younger demographic look at that and says, well, this really isn't just about pure sports. It's about politics. It's about money. It's about greed. It's about political, or rather environmental destruction. I mean, I don't agree with those. I think the Olympics are fantastic, particularly like in the Winter Olympics. When else am I going to watch? What's that with curling?
Oh,
curling.
Yeah.
Or there is no circumstance where I would ever watch curling, and yet when it comes to the Olympics, I'm like, hey, let's pop some popcorn and check this out. So the same is true in the Summer Olympics. I watch stuff I would never watch any other time of the year.
So it's interesting that you say that, because all of those reasons are reasons that I would give for why older people, and older people being millennials, Gen X, and boomers, don't watch the Olympics because my mom, for instance, really, really struggles with the sports washing, right? I don't know why the IOC is so infatuated with autocratic governments, but boy, oh boy, do they love oppressive regimes, right? And I know it's so corrupt. And, watching the Olympics in China, when we know that there is an actual genocide of Muslim Uyghurs in China, in that region, I just felt like we have to boycott it. And so I feel like older people would acknowledge those issues. And with younger people, I thought it was just because they're used to streaming, watching what they want, when they want, so they're not as exposed to as many things. And the whole experience of watching the Olympics is pretty inconvenient because of the times and all the profiles. Like, they're just killing time in between events.
Well, I've made the joke that particularly millennials and younger should go to baseball games. I can imagine them sitting at baseball games and watching the game on their phone while they're in the stadium. I'm like, hey, moron, there's life going on in front of you. Get off your phone and watch the game.
That's real get off my lawn energy there.
Oh, it is. But, but when you were talking about the difference between younger and older, I think really what it comes down to is pride in our country and patriotism, because a lot of older folks, all studies show this, whether you're right, whether you're left, older folks tend to be more patriotic than younger folks. It's a fact, regardless of political affiliation. And so when you look at that, I know I can be proud of America. I know what these athletes go through. I know the training that they're involved with, and I can be proud in our country. And I want to watch that and experience the benefits of their hard work, because it makes America and shows the world that America is truly a light on a hill. And yet younger folks who are less patriotic may not give two hoots about that, because patriotism is less important for younger people. Now they'll grow into it. I mean, listen, I told my kids when they were, my youngest is still under 25. I always tell them MRI evidence, and I know this from my work as an attorney, MRI evidence shows that brains aren't even developed until age 25. So I told my kids that, listen, you're cognitively impaired. I don't care what you want to do on Friday night. You're cognitively impaired. I'm not. So you're going to do what I say. Now I'm being a little facetious with that, but my point is that younger folks are not as patriotic, but they do grow into it over time. So there's still hope.
He's Brad Young. I'm Amy Markscores. Mike Claiborne joins us next to talk a little Cardinals baseball.
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room: over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
Lombardo Homes welcomes you to Saxony Ridge in Wentzville, a sprawling new home community located off Point Prairie Road, west of Highway Z. Saxony Ridge offers custom new construction homes on 3+ acre home sites in the Francis Howell School District. This private and tranquil community offers spacious home sites surrounded by an abundance of beautiful woodlands and open space. Saxony Ridge homeowners will enjoy the close proximity to New Melly, featuring local restaurants, grocers, and numerous recreational opportunities. For more information, visit lombardohomes.com.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, and now is the time to do something about it. With Neoviten Women's Multivitamin, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Created by a St. Louis physician, Neoviten Women's Multivitamin is formulated with our proprietary blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Best of all, you can get Neoviten Women's Multivitamin delivered right to your door with our convenient monthly subscription. Go to neoviten.com and sign up for a subscription today.
11:30, clouds and 82 downtown at the Arch. St. Louis Public School Superintendent Keisha Scarlett is replaced with an interim superintendent today, the school board announces. Scarlett has been criticized for hiring practices, the district going from a surplus to a deficit, and a transportation crisis. KMOX's Megan Lynch recently asked Scarlett to assess her first year.
When you look back on year one, how do you assess how it went?
You know, I believe that things went really well.
We've got more coming up in the news at noon. Road work on 70 going west at the Missouri River. It's got the right lane closed and the shoulder as well. Stalled disabled vehicle 44 going westbound at Murdoch. That's got the right shoulder closed. And that forecast from AccuWeather for this afternoon, we've got some clouds, some sun, maybe a stray thunder shower with a high temperature of 89 today. For tonight, some clouds, low 71. For tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun, and humidity is back with a high of 85. Right now, clouds 82. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special, only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights. In Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m.
Biden's open border policies are crushing Missouri. Yet, the Jeff City Swamp is boosting a program subsidizing health care for illegals. The same program behind Planned Parenthood's discount abortion scheme. Thankfully, Iraq War veteran Andrew Bailey is on guard. Like Trump, he's a fighter. As your Attorney General, Andrew Bailey won't stop fighting illegal immigrants and Planned Parenthood. Call 314-340-6816 and thank Andrew Bailey. Stand For Us PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUs.com.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want to assemble, sell with no agency fees. Claiming groups got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Next delivery. Swing and a miss, and there's 2,000. 2,000 strikeouts for Lance Lynn. Congratulations to the big right-hander. His 2,000 strikeout of his major league career to end the inning.
That was Lynn notching his 2,000th strikeout while rookie sensation Paul Skeens watched. And we have joining us now, Mike Claiborne, Cardinals broadcaster. Claib's joining us as he does every Friday. We've also got Cardinals baseball tonight. First pitch, 7:15. We've got the pregame show with Matt Pauley at 6:20. And don't forget, because it is Friday, we've got Live by Lowe's at the Bullock, and it's reunion weekend, Claibs, with 1964 World Series champion Charlie James joining Ricky Horton and Chip Carey during the post-game show at Lowe's and at the Bullock.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun at the ballpark this weekend. And good to see you yesterday. And Brad, good talking with you as well. But you think about the 64 team, and Charlie James is from St. Louis. He's a Webster Groves guy. And so for him to be part of this weekend celebration of those two great teams, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Saw a lot of people yesterday at the golf tournament, the Cardinals Care Golf Tournament. And we'll have, as the Flintstones used to say, we'll have a gay old time this weekend.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And it was. We did have the Ted Savage golf tournament benefiting Cardinals Care yesterday. Ranj and I broadcasted live from there. We saw you, Claibs. And before we get on to tonight's game, I want to ask you a question that we were talking about right before you joined us, and that is the Olympics and the seemingly waning interest in the Olympics, specifically among young people. So my question is, are you excited about the Olympics, and do you feel like fewer and fewer people are?
I love the Olympics. You know, it's something I truly pay attention to. And, you know, I think because the way we watch sports today, you know, you can look at it on your phone and, you know, the streaming services, the whole 9 yards. I just don't know if the carrier, that be it NBC, has done enough to promote the Olympics in this generation. You know, they do the hometown stories and things of that nature, and they're trying to trend younger, having Snoop Dogg and other young people who have a lot of clicks involved. But I don't know if they've done enough to really create energy and synergy with regard to it. But with respect to me, I'm going to watch as many hours as I humanly can.
Absolutely. I am too. I'm thrilled about it. We'll have the opening ceremonies on tonight and then watch the events tomorrow. Okay, tonight, speaking of a matchup tonight, Sonny Gray taking on Mackenzie Gore on the mound. Sonny Gray hoping to have a strong performance from him, hopefully get more innings. Doesn't that become more important as the season goes on, that you get more innings from your starters?
You want quality. You want quality innings. And I think Sonny, to me, one of the more intriguing players I've ever been around, really understands who he is and what he can do. And I think you'll see the best of Sonny Gray on the back end of the season. You know, we have less than 60 games. We have 60 games left, I believe, or 61. And I think you'll see the best of Sonny Gray saving his bullets for when it really counts. Now, the thing is, with all these pitchers today, you know, if you get to postseason, you're going to be in no man's land as far as innings pitched. And, you know, like a Ryan Helsley and some of the other relievers, they're going to have more innings on their arm than they've ever had before. And that's why postseason is so unique, because we don't know who can do what, because they've never gone this far before. But I think Sonny Gray is a guy who kind of calculates how it's going to work out. He never wastes a pitch, and I love his efficiency. So I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight against the Washington Nationals, who were no hit yesterday. So who knows what they're going to show up looking like tonight. But it should be an interesting weekend of baseball with the Washington Nationals.
Well, Claibs, I want to jump in here because Sonny Gray, obviously, I think certainly our best pitcher at the moment. But let's talk about offense for a moment. We've seen Burleson turn things around. We've seen Mason Wynn make a big impact offensively. How are they trending right now from an offense perspective? Because we saw some explosions of offense whenever they started turning things around a month ago. Now things have kind of leveled off. But how do you see us trending now offensively?
Well, I like the direction that you touched on two people who have been very impactful in Mason and Burley. But, you know, we've got to get more out of the middle of the order. And I know they dropped Goldschmidt down to the 7th spot, but we have to have him and Arenado do some things that we've seen them do before. But overall, I like our direction, and I love what I'm seeing out of Michael Ciani, Pedro Pages. When they get to start, they find a way to contribute with at least one hit or something that they do, and that's what you're going to have. But it starts with the big guys in Arenado and Goldschmidt. If they can get it going, we don't need them to get it going for the whole, you know, we only, like I said, we have less than, you know, I think 61 games. And if they can give us something for 40 of the 60, then we're going to be great.
You know, we've got the trade deadline approaching, Claibs, and Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler had a conversation about this yesterday that they were pretty, well, at least Matt Pauley was definitely invested in, and that is all of the trade rumors, what you hear, what you don't hear, names that are thrown out. How do you take all that information that you see floating around on Twitter or wherever when it comes to trade rumors? Do you put any weight behind it?
I don't, because this is a bunch of people who sit in their basement or wherever and conjure up these proposed fantasy trade opportunities. not knowing a soul or not knowing a thing about what really is going on. For instance, they don't know whether a person is a 5 and 10 person. And that means if you have 10 years in the league and you've been in the National League or the American League for beyond 5 years, you can decide whether you want to be traded or not. Okay. We don't, and a lot of people don't know that element. They don't know what the contract situation is like. There's so many things that go into it that I think that 90% of the things you read and or hear is total bull. Okay. It's just people who have these fantasy ideas, not knowing the big picture of what else is going on. So I don't really put a lot of stock into it, to be honest with you.
What about, we talked about pitching, right? The Cardinals shoring up their pitching. I believe you said they need a second starter, right, in the rotation?
We need a front-end starter.
Okay.
We need another reliever out of the bullpen who has closing experience, and we need a right-handed bat.
So who realistically
They can
is...
play the outfield.
Okay. Who realistically is available? Who are you looking at that you even see? I know not necessarily a rumor, but just an option.
That's a great question, and here's why. Because there are not enough players to satisfy the needs of teams who are searching for help before the trade deadline. So somebody's going to be caught without a chair when the music stops when it comes to acquiring players. I mean, you know, the common guys, you hear about Fetty, you hear about Crochet, people of that nature. I don't know who's actually available and what the cost is going to be. But I know this, when you talk about players that are available, and so they say, well, they're going to want this guy or that guy. And my response is, well, is this guy or that guy able to help you now? And the answer is no. So you say to yourself, well, I'm trying to get somebody who can help me right now, today. I'm not playing for 2026. I'm not playing for 2025. I'm playing for 2024 if I think I have enough horses to get me to the finish line. So there's where teams have to make a decision on, do they think they have enough to add these people compared to having enough just to get in the postseason? And there's a difference.
Claibs, you mentioned the trade rumors, and one of the rumors, and you mentioned Eric Fetty from the White Sox. There's clearly the White Sox are going to be sellers, not buyers. So is it a case that Fetty's going to go somewhere? It's just a matter of where. And do you think the Cardinals are really in the hunt for Fetty? Because I think they're going to deal him somewhere. Are we in the mix for that?
Well, you know what? I don't know if we are or not. You know, one of the things about the Cardinal front office is they keep it very close to the vest, and I respect that. So, but I would say this: they're going to be looking to get some help from somebody, whether it's Fetty or Crochet or Nathan Eovaldi. There's a lot of guys out there who could certainly fit the bill of what the Cardinals are in search of. So I think it just comes down to whether they're willing to pay price-wise, whether they're willing to give up, and do they think they're good enough to go beyond just getting in the playoffs. I mean, we've done that before. I think when you get in, and there's two ways of looking at it. You want to say, you have one class that says, well, if we get in, you never know what can happen. And then there's another class that says, hey, we're getting in because we're going to win the whole thing. We're that good. So you have to figure out which one are you going to be.
We have Cardinals baseball tonight on KMOX, 7:15 first pitch, 6:20 with the pregame with Matt Pauley. And again, it's Friday night. It's a home game. That means we have Live by Lowe's at the Bullock for the post-game show with Ricky Horton, Chip Carey, and 1964 champion, Cardinals World Series champion, Charlie James. It's going to be a good night, Claibs.
Especially after a Cardinal win tonight.
I love it. Sounds good. Thank you, Claibs. Enjoy your day at the ballpark.
You guys have a great weekend. Take care.
You too. That is Mike Claiborne joining us as he always does on a Friday. All right. I said this earlier and we meant it. As you know, Chris Ranji and I and Brad Young, the proxy for Chris Ranji now, we're givers.
Oh, don't say that. No. I listen. I'm sorry to interrupt. I do not want to be a proxy for Chris Ranji. We need to revise that.
All right. A replacement.
Sitting in for is fine.
Okay.
Replacement is great.
A replacement,
but not a proxy. A proxy implies something the same, and no, that's not the case.
You don't want that kind of slander on a Friday. You don't need
I
that.
don't.
Yeah, nobody's got time for that kind of slander on a Friday. Well, we're givers. We're going to give away tickets. I told you Santana, Counting Crows, right? They're going to be at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater tomorrow night, and we're giving away the tickets right now. That's right. Right now. Be the 7th caller to the contest line, 314-955-1120. Be the 7th caller, and you could win yourself a pair of tickets. And as we always say, be incredibly careful. Be very careful when you call in to win these tickets. Well, here's another number. If you are, dealing with some pests, maybe dealing with some moles tearing up your yard, here's the number, the only number you need to know. 877-ROTTLER. 877-ROTTLER. Maybe if you're got your phone, your laptop in front of you, visit rottler.com. I love telling you about Rottler. In fact, Mason Jar and I just called Rottler yesterday to deal with some mosquitoes, and they answer the phone when you call. That's a great thing. Their expert service team is always there to address your immediate concerns, and they can dispatch pro technicians to your door the same day or the next day. All right, I talked about the mosquitoes. Yes, Rottler can take care of mosquitoes, and not all pest control companies can, but they can also take care of moles that are tearing up your lawn. Rottler offers the most advanced and highly effective mole elimination programs available, and their program includes year-round warranted protection. The best part, you don't even have to be home for them to do the service because it's a non-invasive exterior treatment. That's nice. So you can go about your day and not have to worry about it. 877-ROTTLER or rottler.com.
1-800-GOT-JUNK recycles because it conserves our natural resources.
We donate the donatables so they can be loved and used by another family.
Recycling saves us money. The less we take to the landfill, the more we save.
It also saves you money. Spending less on landfills helps keep our prices low.
People love to see a win-win scenario, but we've created a win-win-win-win scenario.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
CARE STL Health proudly hosts Project O, the 5th annual opioid awareness walk run in Forest Park, August 3rd. Choose from a 5K or 1-mile route. Registration is free, with donations appreciated. There will be giveaways and awards for attendees. Join CARE STL Health as they amplify awareness of the opioid crisis, honor those lost to addiction, and bring together community resources to support those affected by the opioid epidemic. CARE STL Health Project O walk run is Saturday morning, August 3rd in Forest Park. Visit carestlhealth.org to register.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game and $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
Tune into the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
Navien tankless water heaters, the proven leader in condensing technology. Request a Navien because you deserve the best in endless hot water delivery. Learn about Navien's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navien contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Patriots like President Trump never stop fighting for their country. Because Trump knows America's on life support and says Dr. Bob Onder can help him save it. Trump's endorsed Dr. Bob Onder for Congress, calling him an incredible America First patriot who will fight tirelessly for our families and conservative values. Dr. Bob Onder, the Trump-endorsed America First conservative. Kurt Schaefer is different. Trump calls Schaefer weak on MAGA because Trump knows his record, voting to let foreign-owned entities buy up Missouri farmland. Now China owns over 40,000 acres. And Schaefer's campaign took $30,000 from a Chinese-owned company. He won't make America great. He'll make China rich. If given the chance, Schaefer will do it again. Win It Backpack is responsible for the content of this ad. Paid for by Win It Backpack. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. WinItBackpack.com.
I'm Scott Jagow. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Amy Mark scores alongside KMOX legal analyst Brad Young of Harris-Dowell Fisher & Young. And Brad, we've had several texters text in asking me to ask you about the Christopher Dunn case. A lot of KMOX listeners have heard about it. Maybe you've read about it. Here's the deal. The Missouri Supreme Court on Wednesday said that Christopher Dunn must remain in prison despite a lower court ruling clearing him of murder and ordering his immediate release. Now, Christopher Dunn has served so far 33 years in prison for a crime the lower court said he did not commit. What in the world is going on here? Because I know that Christopher Dunn literally was dressed in his own clothes after 33 years of being in prison and was 50 feet from the door, 50 feet from freedom. His wife was waiting for him when it was ordered that he go back to jail. Now, the Attorney General was pushing back against his release. And then now we have the St. Louis Circuit Attorney saying the Attorney General doesn't have that right. Can you make sense of that?
I'll try to make sense of it. But first of all, we need to understand that there's two issues, just like with all kinds of issues today. You've got the policy issue, and then you have the legal issue. So let's talk about the legal issue first, and then talk about the policy. The legal issue is, should he be released or can he continue to be imprisoned? That's a tricky question. There is an answer. And I think the reason why this is generating from a legal side, we'll talk about policy in a moment, but from a legal side, what's generating so much confusion is people are comparing it to real life where someone is acquitted. They go to a jury trial. The jury comes back and says not guilty. We've all seen this on Law and Order 1,000 times, right? Everyone, they get up, they can walk out, they're a free person because the jury has said you are not guilty. And so people look at that and say, why isn't that applying here? The judge has said he's not guilty. The judge has cleared him. He should just get up and walk out. But those are not the same situations because the judge has made a purely legal ruling that the evidence that was done 30 or 20 or 30 years ago was insufficient because the witnesses have recanted their testimony. So that legal ruling now is an appealable decision. Unlike a situation where someone is on trial at the trier of fact and the jury acquits them, listen, they're gone. And if the cops try to slap the cuffs on a person walking out of court, he can sue for wrongful imprisonment. But this is not that situation. So there is a difference legally. But let's look at the policy situation. I think the policy situation is that if a judge has said that the evidence is no longer valid and you're free to go, you should be free to go. And if the court wants to reverse that, if the Supreme Court wants to reverse that lower court's decision and maybe issue a new trial or make some other rulings, then they can go back and re-arrest you. But for a guy that's been in prison for 30 years for a crime that a judge has now said he didn't commit, to block him from leaving from a policy perspective, I think is heartbreaking. It's emotionally wrenching. And for me, I don't have any problem. And I'm a very strong law and order conservative that doesn't bother me in any way if he would have been released, but subject to arrest again in the event that the Supreme Court of Missouri should find that not just to release him, but he needs another trial. If that's the case, they can go back and pick him up again.
So Judge Jason Sennheiser ruled on Monday that this evidence shows a proof, or at least leads to, quote, actual innocence on Dunn's part. It's not just doubt, but that he might, actual innocence. So why would Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General, not want Dunn to be released if the justice system is working and evidence is working? What in the world would be motivating Bailey?
Politics. If you're running on a campaign that says law and order, then there could be the perception that you're weak on law and order if you don't take this action. But listen, this isn't the first time this has happened. I believe it was Sandra Hemme. She spent 43 years in prison for a fatal stabbing of a woman. I think it was in St. Joseph, Missouri, back in 1980. On June 14, a judge cited evidence of actual innocence, overturned her conviction. And we have the exact same situation where now she cannot leave because the Supreme Court's looking at it. And listen, I think as a policy perspective, as I mentioned, we should be letting these people go. If a judge has determined that the evidence is wrong, we should be letting them go. It's not like they're going to be a flight risk. I mean, they've been in prison for decades, by the way. So, but legally, I don't think it's the incorrect call legally. In other words, the Supreme Court can postpone the release until they complete their post-trial motions. But from a policy perspective, I think they need to be let go.
He's Brad Young. I'm Amy Markscores. Joining us next after the news is Hall of Fame tight end for the St. Louis Cardinals and Dallas Cowboys, Jackie Smith. He's in town for Military Appreciation Night at the ballpark. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. You find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high efficiency tankless is the future. Compact wall hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, we've got a cloudy sky. It's 83 degrees downtown at the Arch. This newscast is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Our top story is a developing one. The Board of Education of the City of St. Louis makes a major move.
Dr. Keisha Scarlett, superintendent for just a year, is out. The board says she's on a temporary leave of absence, and Dr. Millicent Borchardt is now acting superintendent. At least one member of the board wanted to investigate more than a dozen hires made by Scarlett. The bus situation is still a major question mark, and the district's finances went from a multi-million-dollar surplus to a $35 million deficit. Scarlett signed a 3-year contract after moving here from Seattle to take over for Kelvin Adams, who held that post for 14 years. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Former President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama have offered their endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. In a new video, they congratulate Harris and offer to support her campaign. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
It seemed like this one was designed to come at the end of what's been a pretty well-orchestrated week. Coincidentally, she had a schedule that lent itself well to a presidential campaign rollout with stops in Milwaukee and Houston, and a meeting yesterday with the Israeli Prime Minister. But now here at the end of a week that's already led to record-setting fundraising for the Democratic Party and her campaign, they're likely going to see another round of it through the end of today into the weekend as the Obama message spreads. And they made clear they'll do everything they can to help her.
Donald Trump is due to talk face-to-face today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time in nearly 4 years. France's high-speed rail system disrupted ahead of the opening of the Olympic Games by what authorities say are arsonists. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal shortly after the overnight attacks.
A targeted and coordinated act of sabotage has struck the high-speed rail system with a clear aim of bringing it to a standstill.
Officials say 250,000 riders are affected today, with that number growing to an estimated 800,000 over the weekend. Besides gold, silver, and bronze medals, they're handing out these in the Olympic Village.
While different countries do have different rules for athletes when it comes to mingling with other athletes, Olympic organizers have safety on their minds. They've distributed 300,000 condoms throughout the village. Athletes also got some in their swag bags and showed them off on TikTok. They're in blue and pink packaging that say things like, "No need to be a gold medalist to wear it," and "Don't share more than your victory." Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The KMOX Business Desk. You've heard all about Southwest's big change to get rid of open seating. Most news outlets refer to the new arrangement as assigned seats, but aviation consultant Mike Boyd takes issue with that.
We shouldn't use the term assigning seats. People get to select their seats. That's a big difference. That's what people want. They want to be able to go into a seat map and select their seats. And then Southwest gives it to them. American gives it to them. United gives it to them. So they're just getting up with what everybody else is doing.
Boyd says there's more of a risk Southwest fumbles. Another big change, adding a premium class with more legroom to its aircraft. Southwest is by far Lambert's largest carrier with nonstops to dozens of cities. The Dow from Stifel's up 785 points to 40,720.
A mix of sun and clouds this afternoon with a stray thundershower. The high 89, then partly cloudy tonight, though 71. Intervals of clouds and sun and rather humid tomorrow with a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 85. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got clouds across the region. It's 84 in Florissant and St. Peter's, at 83 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Check out their new Empower checking account and earn 5% interest on balances up to $25,000.
Above all others, symbolizes the team's fierce determination to win. And this one memorable play on which he broke 5 tackles amply illustrates the superhuman effort Jackie Smith gives on every play.
Amy Mark Scores here alongside Brad Young, who is definitely not a proxy for Chris Ranji, but is merely a replacement lest you all be deceived. Brad Young sitting in, and we are honored right now to welcome in NFL Hall of Famer and former St. Louis Cardinals football player, tight end Jackie Smith, who will be honored at Busch Stadium tonight during Military Appreciation Night. Mr. Smith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Wow, what is this? So delightful to be with you guys. This is great. Well, listen, this is it's a surprise and a very much of an honor. And my family's all here and came in from everywhere, and friends are out. And so I don't know how lucky a guy could be any luckier than I am. And so anyway, it's just a tremendous honor. I can't express it really.
Well, it's such an honor to talk to you and acknowledge not only your legendary career, but also all the work you have done for the Missouri National Veterans Memorial in Perryville, Missouri. And let's start with that. I don't think I ever realized we had such an extraordinary memorial there in Perryville. What can you tell people about it?
Well, that's why we try to get the word out here, and it really is. It seems that memorials like that were in like major cities in New York and Washington D.C. or whatever. But here we are in the middle of the country, which is really the heartland of America, which I think is very appropriate. I think there's a reason for all that this happened, and I really have always thought that when Jim Elliman had this vision of putting it there, not only was something he wanted to do to appreciate and pay homage to his friends that he had lost in the Vietnam War, but it really is appropriate for all of America because it's a heartland there, and people go back through Highway 55 and they can always drop in. But it came about as I was told about what's going on down there, and with friends of mine that I already knew in Perryville. And they told me about that and showed it to me. And then I went out with Jim Elliman, who was his property, and it was his vision to put it up. Then when I went out there and I took a look at it, and I was just really taken by it. I mean, it's really so. And that's really what happens is that people come by and see it, and they can't believe it's sticking out in the middle. In fact, right now is a great place to go down and look at it because it's really emblematic of where all these people came from. They were involved in the war as far as warriors are concerned. And you can, and I got some picture of it yesterday, and I stopped on the road out there that goes right by as a memorial. And I looked up and I said, well, I'm going to get on top of my car so I can see this. And I got up and I took a picture of the memorial spread out there, the whole thing, and with a big cornfield back behind it. And it was just really just emblematic of what type of Americans that participated in this war. But I could go on and on and on explaining all that, talking about that.
Jackie, I love hearing you talk, by the way. And I if I could do impressions, I would love to be able to do you because you've got such a great voice. But here's my question. I grew up watching you. My dad and I would just watch you when you were playing for the Cardinals. But actually, isn't it true that when you went to the Cowboys at the end, did you catch a ball in the Super Bowl? I mean, you caught a touchdown pass, didn't you?
I caught several, but there's one that I missed, and that's what everybody remembers.
That's unfair.
Yeah, they bring me all the way down there just to embarrass me. But no, I enjoy it. No, they called Coach Landry called me when he first called me, and I thought somebody was kidding me, and I hung up. And so he called me back laughing at me. But anyway, yeah. But I went down there that last season. It was the middle of the season, and but only 3 games had been played. And so he asked me to tight end they had got hurt, and so they asked me to come down and finish out the season. And it was great because I got when I got introduced to the guys at the first meeting down there when I walked in, the coach introduced me to. He said, "This is Jack Smith." They all booed me. I said, "Man, this is great." Because I always had good luck against them, and so they all booed me. And I said, "Man, I feel welcome now."
Again, we're talking with Jackie Smith. It's Jackie Smith Night at the ballpark tonight, in addition to Military Appreciation Night. Jackie Smith has done a ton of work with the Missouri National Veterans Memorial in Perryville, Missouri. I want to get back to that as well, but a quick question, talking about what an honor it is to be honored at Busch Stadium tonight. What about when you got that call back in 1994 when you were inducted into the Football Hall of Fame?
Well, when I got the call, I thought somebody was kidding me, because I wasn't expecting it, and I wasn't expecting to be into the Hall, because the makeup of the tight ends at that time was a little bit different. But I was really surprised, and I asked him. I said, "You sure you didn't make a mistake?" And so I had to wait for a while, and then they sent a notice out. And but that was the most. I was very surprised, very delighted, and I, you know, when I say stuff like that, that I was surprised, and I never did think of myself as a good football player. I was just something that I wanted to do and would enjoy doing, and I didn't do it for any kind of recognition. I didn't do it for anything like that. It was just something that was in me that says I'd like to do this. This looks like a nice thing to do. It's a nice way to support my family and whatever. And that maybe sounds a little bit kind of goofy, but that's really the way I approached it. I never did think it was such a big deal that you could catch passes and run with a football. I thought maybe that anybody could do that if they wanted to, but anyway. So it was just a delightful part of my life, and it added a lot to the family. All the family got to move up here to St. Louis instead of being in Louisiana, and so it was a nice thing for all of them, and they've all benefited from it.
How was it playing football in the old Busch Stadium, a baseball/football venue at the time?
Say again?
How was it playing football at the old Busch Stadium, a football and baseball venue?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, that was an adventure in itself. We always remember that we always tried to check the field to check and see if they've got the mound level or not, because if the mound wasn't level, you had running a pass pattern that was a little bit difficult to do that. And so and with the infield being bare like that, and if you had a rain that just been raining or something, you had a real tough time maneuvering in that. And so and if there was a play space. There was the first field, one of the first fields. They actually put down AstroTurf on it, or artificial turf, whatever they were calling it at the time. But you had to look at it as a receiver. You had to look down and look out there and see. They put it down in like 20-foot rows, but they would be, and the grain and the artificial grass would be laying one way or the other. But you, as a pass receiver, you had to look down and see which way the grain's going to be running, but when you try to make a break on your pass pattern, because we had rubber shoes on and we couldn't, and we would slide. If we were going with the grain, we were going to be sliding. We're going against it, then we had a good chance of making a break. And so I remember doing that so many times, looking down through there and seeing which way, where's the grain going to be when I had to make a break. You know, that sounds goofy, I think, to think about that, but that's what we did for a living during that time. So we had to do that.
Incredible. Makes the accomplishments even that much more impressive. Well, again, it's Jackie Smith Night at the ballpark, the Missouri National Veterans Memorial in Perryville, Missouri. It's an exact replica in size, scope, and materials of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., which is really just incredible. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. You can donate. You can find out more at mnvmfund.org, mnvmfund.org. And, you know, it is so important to remember the sacrifices our veterans have made. Now, my grandpa fought in World War II, and I talk about this all the time. He had his uniform as a private and his uniform as a lieutenant, and my sister and I would dress up in his uniform, put his big coat on and his hat, and he would tell us stories about serving in Saipan, is where he served. And it's so important that younger generations know the sacrifices that were made.
Yes. Well, I agree with you 100%. That's why that thing went up, and I just can't say enough about what you feel when you go in there. I can't say enough about how much appreciative all these people are that came in there that were in the wars and how they feel about it all. But they come in there, and some of them will be set in, they won't be able to get out of the office up there, and others will go down and just stare at one name or one panel or whatever. But it has effect on everyone that comes in there, and I don't care if you participated in the service or not. It's just a unique, very unique memorial. And it's located in the part of the country, the type of country that most of these guys really came from. And so I always felt that was such a neat thing to be there. And so I just wish all of St. Louis. It's only an hour's drive down there at the most. And I don't know, hit 55. So if people would take the time one afternoon, I can promise you that it's well worth the trip. It really will be. And especially if you love America like we always do.
Football Hall of Famer Jackie Smith. You can buy tickets to the game at Cardinals.com. Use the special code Jackie for the special offer. And if I'm correct, you'll be signing autographs. I buried the lead here. You'll be signing autographs at the Budweiser Terrace from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Jackie Smith Night at the ballpark.
Absolutely, and I'd love to see everybody. We'll have some visits. We do some serious visiting.
I love serious visiting of all kind. Again, that's tonight, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Hall of Famer Jackie Smith will be signing autographs. Jackie Smith Night at the ballpark. Learn more about the Veterans Memorial at nvmfund.org. Mr. Smith, we really appreciate your time today. Have fun tonight as Busch Stadium and all the Cardinals fan honor what an incredible athlete and human you are.
Well, you guys are great. The Camel X are great. And it's wonderful as St. Louis is great. And I'm so happy to be here. And so, but thank you so much for having me on and giving us the opportunity to talk about this wonderful memorial. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Football Hall of Famer Jackie Smith. Really, really cool. I want to check out that memorial. He's Brad Young. I'm Amy Mark Scores. I've got some newsy legal questions for Brad Young of Harris, Fisher & Young, and he's here to answer them. It's next on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco, they can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25RHINO.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Before you sell your home, consider your options. This is Debbie Monterey, and for years I've been telling you about St. Louis's real estate expert Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is an expert in selling homes for the most money because she has the guarantees, the buyers, and different solutions for every type of seller. She recently provided a family multiple cash offers in minutes so they could move quickly with no showings, no costly repairs, no hassles. Not everyone is looking for multiple cash offers. That's why Gloria will sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. Her name says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Regardless of whether you're looking for multiple cash offers or you want to use her Guaranteed Sold program to ensure you get the most money possible, call the agent I would trust to sell my home, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Broadcasting from the underlying Three Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Stay connected with the heartbeat of St. Louis. KMOX News, bringing you the stories that matter most. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Amy Mark Scores, Brad Young with you. Brad, you brought this story to my attention, and it's a recent study. An exclusive poll from Newsweek shows that 44% of Americans said they think it's getting harder to achieve a middle-class socioeconomic status. And the study suggests that a majority of U.S. adults believe it is impossible to achieve a comfortable lifestyle. Is the American dream dead, Brad Young?
You know, I don't think it is. And here's the reason why I don't think it is. Because what separates America from other countries is that the possibilities are endless. I mean, we just heard President Biden talk about, here's a guy from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He gave this in his speech. He said, how could a guy from Scranton who grew up in a basically a rundown area could rise to the presidency? And that's true. That still exists. Now look at Kamala Harris. Now she's running for president. And you don't have to be a millionaire or come from a millionaire status to achieve stuff in this country. Freedom does still exist. Now, here's the reason why I think that for many, they feel that this is out of reach. And I think it's because of expenses. What do I mean by that? When I got out of law school, I was already making a pretty good salary when I got out of law school. But, we didn't have cable TV. And by the way, I need to preface this by saying somebody texted in criticizing a statement I made saying that was a boomer statement. I'm not even a baby boomer. I'm not a baby boomer. I'm a Gen Zer. So I just have the hairline of a baby boomer, but I'm not really a baby boomer. But here's the point. I didn't have a cell phone. Everybody else had a cell phone. I didn't have one. Because I tried to keep expenses down so that we could have a comfortable lifestyle. And yet when I look at folks today, I talk to younger folks today and they tell me, well, I got to have every streaming channel. I've got to have the best cell phone plan. I've got to have the best car. I got to have all these things. Then they feel like I'm being choked financially. It's not really an income issue. It's an expense issue, just like our federal government. I mean, our federal government takes in trillions of dollars a year, but they act like they're broke because they're overspending and not guarding on the spending side, even though the income side works pretty well. So when you look at it, the structure of freedom still exists. I just think we need to have expectations about a delayed benefits, that it's okay to do without now, as long as you're planning to do well in the future.
So it's kind of interesting because I have two thoughts on this. One is kind of summed up by a story from The Atlantic from last year. It's called The Myth of the Broke Millennial, because by 2019, households headed by millennials were making considerably more money than those headed by boomers and Gen Xers at the same age. And while 10 years ago, 10 years before that, millennials weren't necessarily as prosperous, they have made, quote, a breathtaking financial comeback. So I do feel that in some ways that we have so many luxuries available to us. At the same time, I feel like it's very hard to buy a house now, and that it was easier for young couples, decades ago to buy a house, whereas like my brother, I've talked about him at length. He's probably sick of it. My brother and sister-in-law, they have put offers on like 10 houses. And so many times it's here, see the house on Saturday. You have 24 hours, cash offer. I mean, impossible standards for a young couple at costs that are like my parents, their first home, even adjusting for inflation, did not cost as much as houses cost now. Isn't it harder to buy a home?
Oh, it's far harder. And I gave this example to my dad when I was a kid. He basically, the house that he bought was approximately equal to his yearly salary. When my dad bought a house in the 40s.
Okay.
Or early 50s. He earned in a year what his house cost. But today, there's no way you're going to be able to buy a house for what a person or even a couple makes in a year, because inflation. And inflation is the greatest thief of wealth that our system has ever seen. And yet inflation, a lot of folks don't feel that inflation is all that big of a deal. They don't understand how inflation robs us of wealth. And housing is the greatest example of that, where the inflationary pressures on housing cause them to be almost out of reach. And so while I do think that traditional picket fence, you get out of college and you buy a house, it's got the picket fence, while that may be out of reach, the idea of the freedom of capitalism and democracy, which is really the bedrock of the American dream, not a picket fence around your house, but the ability to succeed, the ability to start a business, the ability to run for president. All of those freedoms do still exist. We just have to recategorize what it means to shoot for the American dream.
Yeah, well put. I'm thinking of even members of Congress, like Ilhan Omar, coming from another country and she's a U.S. representative, or Joe Biden, the kid from Scranton becoming president. Different parameters, but still very much alive in various ways. Brad Young with me, sitting in for Chris Ranji. Hey, Matt Seebeck of City SC is going to join us next because the League's Cup starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. Jewels on Hampton.
1-800-GOT-JUNK recycles because it conserves our natural resources.
We donate the donatables so they can be loved and used by another family.
Recycling saves us money. The less we take to the landfill, the more we save.
It also saves you money. Spending less on landfills helps keep our prices low.
People love to see a win-win scenario, but we've created a win-win-win-win scenario.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
At 12:30, clouds 84 downtown at the Arch. There's a change at the top of St. Louis Public Schools. After just a year on the job, Superintendent Keisha Scarlett is placed on a leave of absence. She recently responded to busing issues on KMOX.
Transportation issues nationally are just at an all-time high for school districts. We have bus driver shortages. And so the pullout from our vendors, from our contract, the termination of the contract, it put us into a tailspin. We knew that we needed to make some changes for like the 25-26 school year and on, but we were just not expecting this.
Deputy Superintendent Millicent Borshade will take over as the interim superintendent. We've got a crash on 6440 going east at 270. That's got the right shoulder closed. Forecast, a stray thunder shower possible this afternoon. We could have some sun, too, with a high of 89. For tonight, partly cloudy, low 71. For tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun, more humid, thunderstorm in spots with a high of 85. Right now, it's 84. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I see clearly now, thanks to the doctors, Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, Royer, and Barry. You can too. Go to youridoc.com.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want a simple sale with no agency fees. Claiming groups got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and get a 4th room for free and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call right now, 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special, only $49.99. Seminars Tuesday, August 13th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
Hi, I'm Cardinals pitcher Zach Thompson. It's game day.
It's the Cards and Nationals tonight. Ameren Total Access 620. First pitch 7:15.
Let's play ball.
On your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Top of the middle yard, toy shirt poked away from him.
Oh,
In the
no
air,
feed.
deflects it to feed, shoots, and this thing is wide. Oh, it came off of Tomlin down the right side of the box, and within 10 yards on the right side, Thorson tried to go near post. And
St. Louis City SC, they're going to kick off their Leagues Cup journey tomorrow night with a home match against FC Dallas. That's Saturday, at City Park. You can listen to the English broadcast on KYKY Y98, our sister station, and the Spanish radio broadcast on KXOK 102.9 FM. So lots of radio coverage as well. And of course, you can watch it on the Apple TV app. But to talk more about the Leagues Cup, which starts tomorrow, is Matt Seebeck, the St. Louis City SC Chief Experience Officer. Matt, good to talk to you again.
Amy, good as always. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Trying to, as a newer soccer fan, understand all the different mid-season matches and tournaments that happen. So for the Leagues Cup, I'm not familiar with it. What can you tell people about the Leagues Cup?
Yeah, let's go through a little bit of a crash course. I mean, it is something new for a lot of our fans, because these mid-season tournaments, they don't exist in baseball and hockey. So basically what happens, we play in Major League Soccer, and for the month of July here and a little bit into August, our season stops and we compete in a Leagues Cup tournament. And what that is all Major League Soccer teams battle up against Liga MX, which is the top professional league in Mexico. So it's 47 teams total, winner take all. There's a lot at stake. So it's a new tournament that started last year. So I think all of our fans, while kind of learning the game of soccer, are also learning about these mid-season tourneys as well.
Well, that's exciting. So they're taking on FC Dallas tomorrow night. So when will they start playing the teams from Mexico?
So this is group stage, a bit like World Cup. So it is a little confusing that our first game is actually against a Major League Soccer foe. So that's on Saturday, and then back on August 4th, a Sunday night at City Park, we play FC Juarez. So that's one of the top teams in Liga MX. So we get a little bit of both in the first round here.
Gotcha. And also, I wanted to throw out that there's a unique opportunity ahead of the match on Saturday where City fans will have a chance to see the players all walk into City Park. What's happening there?
Yes, I mean, along with this education of what this tournament is, we wanted to change up the product, the experience product a little bit. And, there'll be fun and games and music and, all the kind of pomp and circumstance of City Park. But we wanted to kick it off with a bang. And what that will be at 6:00 tomorrow on Saturday. It's free for anyone to come see. The players will actually arrive in our Lou Fuse Plaza area. That's, right by Union Station there. And they'll be dropped off and they'll walk and proceed into the stadium there amidst fans and high fives. So a bit of a college game day environment, if you're familiar more with that. So it'll be, I think, a really fun and unique opportunity to get really, really close to players and coaches. And, included in that are 4 new players that have recently signed with City. So we think it's kind of a proper welcome for them to St. Louis here.
Are tickets to a Leagues Cup game, is that the same experience for fans buying tickets to a regular season MLS game?
Yeah, I mean, same experience, 100% local food, tons of energy, tons of hype, music, the whole scene. So, it's always rocking on Saturday nights in City Park, and, tomorrow will be no different.
Excellent. Okay. I have an idea, Matt. I don't want to call it avant-garde. I don't want to call it crazy, but I'm just
I love it.
I'm just throwing it out there. What if we didn't allow ties or draws anymore in Major League Soccer? What if you had to have a winner and a loser? You don't have to put your name on it. I'll just put my name on this idea. Because technically, if City had won all of their draws, they would be in first place, I think. So what if we got rid of ties?
I'm checking the math on that, but I like where you're going here. This is the Amy rule. I think it actually is a bit serendipitous, Amy, because this is a tournament. And so actually, once we get out of group stage here, these first 2 games, there will be no more ties. So it's, we'll go to extra time and penalty shootout. So if you are interested in the Amy rule, there's no better time to become a City fan than Leagues Cup right now.
Okay, perfect. It is. It's the anti-tie rule. Okay, Matt, I'm gonna ask you about this because I don't know all of what happened around it. But there was the Open Cup, and City SC didn't play in the Open Cup, but they are playing in the Leagues Cup. Why did City SC not play in the Open Cup?
So, the context behind this is the Open Cup is the longest running tournament in North America. And it's a tournament that is really enjoyable. Amateur teams can join, and it has a true David and Goliath feel to it. Open Cup is going through a bit of a transition here where I think Major League Soccer and U.S. Soccer and all the entities are trying to figure out how to make this old historic tournament bigger and better for the future. And one of the, restrictions this year was, we qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is another one, but these are all the top teams in North America. Because we finished top of our conference last year, we qualified for this very exclusive tournament. And because we qualified for that, we weren't allowed to play in Open Cup this season. So we are very, encouraged and bullish that next year, we'll be competing in not only Leagues Cup, but this old historic tournament of Open Cup as well. So we weren't able to compete in Open Cup. And for some of our, supporters and fans that have been around for Open Cup and supporting that tournament, they were, quite disappointed by that news and have opted not to attend the Leagues Cup game. So it's a very open dialogue that we're having with our supporters. I think, we understand and respect where they're coming from, but are also, a little disappointed that they're not going to be at the park this weekend.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And again, being a bit on the outside of the soccer world, I think some of our listeners who are newer to it probably have heard some of the conversations, but don't quite understand the passions behind it. And I guess I always feel with disgruntled fans of any sport, disgruntled fans are passionate fans, and it's better to have passionate fans than apathetic fans. I think it means they take everything to heart, which is really good. But I'm excited about the Leagues Cup starting. And again, with City SC being here in St. Louis, season number 2, I know a bit of a rough go compared to last season. I think that's always expected in a sophomore year. And the what we saw last year was definitely less of the norm. But I will say this. It is an incredible experience to go to City Park and to watch the game, to feel that it's a big venue, but also an intimate venue, that it is St. Louis 100% through and through. I personally think if you have any chance to go to any City game, you should go. That's my hands down vote, even with the ties, even with occasional tie.
That's right. Without the Amy rule, it's still a great experience. But thank you for that, Amy. And I think this Leagues Cup, because even just the education of what is this tournament. This is I think the first game where we do have tickets available for tomorrow night. So starting as low as $25, it is a good chance if you haven't been before, or you have friends, family that haven't experienced the magic of City Park yet. This is the opportunity to do that.
That's a great point. My dad's birthday was last month, and it is, like you said, it's so hard to get tickets. So for this opportunity to go, I'm telling you, get online, buy your tickets, go see City play tomorrow night. You won't regret it. It is such a fun experience. It's an addicting experience because, like I said, it's that big outdoor venue, but feels intimate, right? Because it is smaller than a baseball stadium. And also what I love is the constant cheering and the chants and the songs that are being sung. It really is electric. So if you cancel your plans tomorrow night, buy tickets to go see City SC take on FC Dallas, because we want to cheer them on, and it's a ton of fun. It really is a ton of fun. So thank you, Matt, for joining us.
Absolutely, Amy, anytime.
That is Matt Seebeck, St. Louis City SC Chief Experience Officer. Like I said, tickets are hard to come by. I might be jumping online in just a second here to see what tickets are available. He's Brad Young. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Both of us in favor of the Amy rule, which is anti-ties. Yes. But again, go ahead. I
mean, aren't ties? I mean, they're so French.
I know. I said they're un-American.
Ties are like French. Like, there's only one word in the French language for victory, but there's like 72 words for surrender. Okay. and to me, a tie is just so French.
They're like, it does not matter who wins.
We want more wine than cheese.
Well,
winning is not important.
You gotta love the French. They have good style, though. At any rate, he's Brad Young, always a man of style. I'm Amy Mark Scores. And hey, a few more minutes with you on the Chris and Amy Show on a Friday on KMOX.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands. at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
With the new year, it's time to make sure you have the best vision for 2024. That means scheduling your annual eye exam with Ophthalmology Associates. Call 314-966-5000.
Join us for the next Business of Family Business. I'm Debbie Monterey, and we're going to be talking with Jason Shupp of Ferguson Roofing.
Join us Saturday at 2:00. Jason's going to talk about the process he went through, considering the sale of his company that had been in the business in the family for 3 generations. Fascinating story.
That is Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners. I'm Debbie Monterey. It's the Business of Family Business, Saturday at 2, right here on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I don't want to wait.
You never want to wait.
Not when I'm sticking to the couch.
Well, those guys can install a new AC for days. Evidently, no one can.
JerryKelly.com says if you purchase a full home comfort system today, they'll install it the very next day.
Wow, that's fast.
And guaranteed. Buy a home comfort system from Jerry Kelly today, and they'll install it tomorrow, or they'll give you $500 guaranteed.
JerryKelly.com. Saturdays are made for soccer and City SC on Y98. Whether you're running around town watching your kids from the sidelines or making the time to give blood and save lives by making your appointment at Impact Life, your community blood center. Make your appointment today at bloodcenter.org/soccer. And remember, you can always catch the City SC game anywhere on the Odyssey app and on Y98, your home for St. Louis City Soccer.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Rachel from The Dave Glover Show.
So Smart Mouth is the only mouth rinse in the world that has a chemical reaction that makes sure that your bad breath is gone for 12 hours at a time, which means 24 hours a day, zero bad breath.
Yeah, all you have to do is rinse twice and you are covered for 24 hours. That means you never have bad breath. Plus, there's a product to fit whatever your needs are. To learn more, go to their website, smartmouth.com/Glover. And while you're there, you can get a coupon for $2.50 off.
Tune into the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm Brad Young. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
This is your birthday. Wanna stop birthday too, yeah? This is your birthday.
Amy Mark Scores and Brad Young with you for a final time on the Chris and Amy Show because I asked my boss, Steve Moore, if I could hang out with Brad Young for my birthday, and he said yes, so he kicked Ranji out the door, and here I am with Brad Young of Hairstyle Fisher & Young.
Thanks for the invitation. And by the way, again, I think I told you earlier, one of my clients, Thomas McGee, gave a shout out saying you are the best part of KMOX. That's really what they said, Amy.
Oh.
And I seconded that motion.
Well, thank you. And as Charlie would say, tell him his check is in the mail. Okay. Brad, you, and that is really kind. Thank you, Thomas. Brad, you sent a very riveting legal story out of from the Ohio Supreme Court.
Yes, nothing escapes my view and gaze.
So what in the world is going on here?
Well, I love quirky lawsuits.
Yeah.
All right, because they're just funny, and this is a great one because somebody got boneless chicken wings at a restaurant, and so when they got the chicken wings, and they appeared to be boneless, there was a bone in the chicken wings.
Oh.
And so somebody sued, and of course they sued on the basis of how can there be a bone in a boneless chicken wings?
Yeah.
And can you imagine the oral arguments in front of the Ohio Supreme Court on the intricacies of what percentage of bone can be in a chicken wing for it to still be called boneless? And and then you've got all these people, these judges, they're wearing robes and they're looking very serious, discussing chicken wings. I just wish I could have been there. But anyway, the Supreme Court actually had to deal with this. And to me, it reminded me of that lawsuit against Subway a couple of years ago when someone sued saying a foot-long sandwich at Subway is not really 12 inches long. And so there was a class action lawsuit filed over whether a foot-long sandwich has to be a literal 12 inches. And people file lawsuits over these kinds of just important issues of the day.
Very litigious society. What did they decide on the foot-long sandwich?
Well, the foot-long sandwich, and I love this award. When I read through it, it's been a while, but when I read through it, there was actually a settlement.
Okay.
Because Subway was able to demonstrate that the reason why they're always not 12 inches long is because the bread comes frozen. And when it's thawed and cooked, sometimes it's 12 inches, sometimes it's 11 inches, 11.8 inches, but it's taller because the bread isn't linear. And so therefore the class action lawsuit was settled. Also, the class action, it couldn't be registered as a class action or certified as a class action because there was no way to prove whether individuals got 12.1 inch sandwiches because they ate the evidence.
Of course.
You don't know exactly how long that sandwich was because you consumed it. I mean, it's like the old joke about the guy who gets cigars and insures them for $1 million. And then after he smokes a cigar, he files a claim for property damage saying that the property was destroyed by fire. Of course, that's apocryphal. But these litigations, I mean, to some extent we can laugh at them. But yes, it does clog our legal system. It prevents serious issues from being discussed. But they are funny to laugh and mock.
So Subway was shrinkage, Jerry, shrinkage. That's what Subway was saying.
Yes, exactly. And then there were some off-color jokes involving Jared from Subway serving time in prison.
Oh no!
Which we won't delve into that at the moment. But it did give rise to lots of humor.
I imagine, and it looks like it was a 4-3 decision. And I don't know how creative the Ohio Supreme Court is, but our United States Supreme Court, believe it or not, frequently have a sense of humor. I think the decisions are really interesting to read. The opinions are interesting to read. The dissents. I would like to see the majority opinion on the Ohio boneless chicken wing, and then the dissenting opinion on the.
Well, and you know what? There's a question here because the sale of hear me out here.
Okay.
The sale of chicken wings involves interstate commerce. And because interstate commerce might be impacted, I'm wondering if they're considering filing an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, alleging some sort of federal issue that could impact this groundbreaking question that we all want to have resolved: is how much bone can be in a boneless chicken wing and it still be boneless? I don't know. Do we really want to see? Alito addressing this as an issue? Justice Roberts weighing in on chicken wings? You know, I don't think so.
Well, they've got a lot of downtime. Okay, we've got like 90 seconds, but I have to ask you because Chris Ranji and I talked about the EU mandating speed limiting technology in all new cars.
Yes.
What is the Brad Young hot take on this? It automatically slows your car down if you're speeding. Okay.
Yeah. If you exceed the speed limit, that's got a governor that automatically cuts the power to the engine to slow you down. I mean, come on. We really need government to control that? No, we do not, because there are times when you might need to exceed the speed limit. If someone's chasing me, I'm going to go above the speed limit. And don't I have the right to do that? If I'm willing to face the consequences of speeding, why can the government prevent me from doing that? I think it's wrong, and it's so French. It gets back to the French thing.
This guy hates the
It's
French.
so French.
Well, are you going to be watching the Olympics, Brad, as we say goodbye? Are you going to be watching them tonight, the opening
Yes.
ceremonies, or do
I'll
you
be watching the opening ceremony?
Very nice.
I'll be watching as much of the Olympics as I possibly can, and go USA.
I love it. Go Team USA all the way. I appreciate it. Brad Young sitting in for, but never, ever a proxy for Chris
Exactly.
Ranji, who will return next week. Brad, I really appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend.
I shall, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Great birthday present hanging out here with all of you and in Studio B. The Dave Glover Show is next. If you missed anything today, you can rewind live radio on the Odyssey app, download it. It's free, or you can check us out on the podcast. The whole show is podcasted. Listen at your convenience. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
No. I'm not gonna let the birthday girl sit here and poo-poo badminton.
I love badminton.